everybody. Welcome to another ActionFeatures.net Comics Weekend Review. These are for releases from March 13th, 2013.
Whatever today is.
Hey, we're doing laundry in the other room, so hopefully it's not too loud. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. We got a lot of books this time, so we got a lot to... And you got like 3 books you read this time. So let's jump right in. Age of Ultron, Issue 2. This is the miniseries by Brian Michael Bendis with art by Brian Hitch. It's showing like this world that's kind of controlled by the Ultrons. We're kind of figuring that this is some kind of alternate reality, since things are different than what's going on in Marvel right now. This is a book that both Blaze and I read. In this issue, we kind of follow along with Black Widow and Moon Knight, who were kind of off on their own doing their thing, and they come to one of Fury's old places of hiding or whatever, and he's got a wall where they talk about the Secret Invasion storyline, where he was trying to figure out who the Skrulls were. We also touch on Spider-Man, now that he's rejoined the other straggling group of heroes, and kind of his remembrance of how this whole thing got started, which doesn't fill in a lot of gaps. And then at the end of the last issue, we saw Cap, who's kind of sitting there. We know that Cap maybe has a plan to fight back.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm enjoying this series so far. I think it's a cool kind of Age of Apocalypse alternate reality type thing, almost like a 90s throwback kind of story to me. I am curious how, we both talked about this, how it's going to cross into regular Marvel Now books. How the Age of Ultron storyline. Yeah, I really don't know how it's going to cross over into them. I know it's crossing over with Fantastic Four, and they're out in space.
Right.
I don't really know how things are going to work out until we start getting into the crossover issues. Right now, it's just you're reading just this story. It's going to cross into other books, and I'm not sure how essential that crossover is going to be to reading it.
I think they should just keep it like this, not crossover.
I like it as just kind of an alternate reality miniseries. I agree. We don't know how integral the crossovers are going to be, or how related they'll be to it. We don't know any of that yet. I guess we'll find out as it goes. I loved it, and I loved the art. I just think it's a fun crossover to me. What do you think?
I liked it a lot. It wasn't as good as the first issue.
I agree that it wasn't as good as the first one. The Hawkeye Spidey stuff was great. You liked the ending, yeah. The
ending was the best part of the book.
Yeah. It wasn't as good as the first issue, I agree. But it's still a really fun miniseries, I think.
They're also going to have to tie something in with the Fantastic Four, because like I said last year, I saw Thing in the book.
Yeah, last year?
Last year.
That's what you said.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm really doing
You're reading these books in the past from the future. Alright, so Avengers Arena, issue 6. By now you know this is where Arcade's kidnapped a bunch of the younger heroes, and he's having them fight it out in a Hunger Games type situation where they're all trapped. This issue isn't so much as like the other issues where we've been kind of getting origin stories of the characters. This one kind of actually fills in some more of the story, where you see the groups that have broken off and see their journey to get to these the food pack thing. On Reptile's team.
Reptile's in this
Yeah,
book?
he's in it.
That's awesome.
He's been hurt, and so he's really hurt, and the people he's with, which X-23 is one of them, they run into this trap of this kind of, they step on it, and this gas kind of changes X-23 into this like murderer-type character. And so they have to get away from her, so that group is now splintered. And then the group that had, which is like from the Braddock Academy, I guess, that had Kid Britain and a few of the others, this character with the axe, who I believe's named Aiden, I think is his name, and Cullen, they kind of got split up in the last issue. And in this issue, we find a little bit about why Aiden, the very little backstory type stuff between Aiden and Kid Britain. We see them all meeting up and getting after this prize pack, and what happens then. You know, as characters are starting to turn on each other, and you're seeing where the lines are being drawn, and finally it's becoming a game of survival. Almost.
Can I explain Reptile real quick?
You kind of can, but I don't know if he'll be the same in comics as he is in...
You can tell me if he is. His first appearance was Superhero Squad.
It was Superhero Squad, I believe.
He's like a teenager, and he has like the power where he turns into like these dinosaur creatures.
He does the same thing in this. But I don't know if what the whole backstory for him is in this is the same.
They didn't give it back.
But that's cool that Superhero Squad first, as far as I know. The final thing that happens in the book is a huge game changer. And it's like, okay, well, and even Arcade says game on or something like that. So I thought this was maybe the best issue of the series so far, in as much as it's really now becoming the storyline it's supposed to become.
Right.
Good issue.
Is Reptile on the cover?
I don't believe he is, no. I think it's like mostly the Braddock Academy people. I don't know. Avengers Assemble issue 13. This is the second part of what apparently is a 2-part story involving Black Widow, right? where she has given out markers to people, karma markers or something like, I don't know what they were called, where she is now making amends for things she did in her past. It ends up that it was all a trap, and now the girl whose father she killed, who's now like this lizard person, has trapped Hawkeye, Black Widow, and Spider-Girl. You alright there?
Yeah.
Okay, Spider-Woman, all in one place, and they're basically going to take them out. They fight out back against them. I'm not going to tell you how the whole thing gets resolved, but it does get resolved, and that's it. It's kind of a very quick wrap-up issue.
I read in 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't that great of an issue. It just kind of wrapped up a 2-part storyline. You could totally skip them both, and nothing would change. Not that it was bad.
No.
It just was just okay.
It didn't come to me that well, because I don't really think of Spider-Woman as an Avenger.
Yeah, I know. Avenging Spider-Man, issue 18. This is the book that crosses over Spider-Man with an Avenger. In this issue, obviously, he crosses over with Thor. This is the superior Spider-Man, which is Doc Ock in Spider-Man's body. He's very haughty and very egotistical in this book, like he always is.
Is the Ghost Peter in that, too?
No, Ghost Peter is not in this. Not that I remember, at least.
I have a question about him.
What was the question?
Since he's Ghost Peter, basically, they died in different bodies, so does he look like Doc Ock?
He looks like Peter.
That's kind of strange.
It's weird. The whole thing's weird. Well, in this one, Electro's coming back after Thor has somehow banished him using his hammer, and Spidey's kind of warning Thor, but he's doing it with a very egotistical, talking down kind of manner. And I believe at any one point Thor's like, you have a lot of ego, or something like that, or he says something, you're being very rude. Which, it's kind of cool that Thor called him out as for his behavior.
Finally.
Yeah. And Electro comes back, and then it plugs in another piece, like from the last issue, where Doc Ock Spider-Man obviously has a hidden agenda. I liked the art by Chicheto, I believe it is. And Christopher Yost, I think, does a better job of writing Doc Ock Spider-Man than Dan Slott does over in Superior Spider-Man. He makes him, I don't know, it's a little more fun to read him than it is in the other one. But maybe the whole Ghost Peter not being there that makes it more fun to read. It was okay.
Do you think the Doc Ock Spider-Man would work as a Black Spider-Man?
Maybe. I mean, Black Spider-Man, when you're talking about like when he has the attitude or whatever?
Yes.
Kinda, yeah. Fantastic Four issue 5. In this issue, they go back in time to ancient Rome to meet Julius Caesar, which is kind of weird. We get the finishing off of the last story, the last issue, where Reed is now explaining to Sue about their powers breaking down, and she's worried it's going to happen to everybody. Ben and Johnny and the two kids, the Richards kids, they go off to meet Julius Caesar. They find out something about Julius Caesar that is strange. I'm not gonna, and they're involved in the whole Julius Caesar death, and it's just kind of weird.
It is.
And I think it's kind of weird they're going back in time because they could alter time, and I don't know if they'd really be doing it that much in this whole journey through dimensions to find the cure. Not really sure how going to ancient Rome would help them. And then we get another touch on that Julius Caesar character towards the end of the book. I'm kind of slowly not enjoying this book as much as I was with the first few. The last one wasn't that great. This one wasn't that great. I don't know. I'm going to give it a couple more and then that may be it. I still love the Bagley art, but I kind of feel like this is like, when are we going to go somewhere?
You know, it'd be kind of neat. How they're traveling dimensions if they went to Dimension Z, who's Dimension Z.
Oh, yeah. That would be cool.
And I have a question about Avenging Spider-Man before we...
I can try and answer it.
What do you like better, Superior Spider-Man or Avenging Spider-Man?
Oh, definitely like the Avenging Spider-Man book better. Fearless Defenders issue 2. This is bringing together, so far it's an all-female team. We have Valkyrie and Misty Knight, and now we are going to apparently add Danny Moonstar to this book. I love the cover because it makes it look like a Danny Moonstar Marvel Universe figure, which is kind of neat.
They made a figure?
No, it's just like the cover looks like the packaging in a Marvel Universe figure. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But the book itself, I don't know. This is my last issue buying this book. It's not that it's bad. I just have no interest in these characters.
I don't know those characters.
Yeah, it's just not really appealing to me that much. There's these guys that go to capture Danny Moonstar, and she fights back against them. Yeah. There's a touch on Valkyrie and what she knows about what's happening and how she's failed to bring together these Valkyrie warriors, and now these evil ones are going to take their place, and Hela's there, and they go to Asgard. And I mean, the art's okay, the writing's okay. What's that?
Was Thor in it?
No, Thor was not in it.
Kid Loki?
No, Kid Loki's not in it.
Odin?
No, Odin's not in it. It's just not that of appealing of a book to me.
Yeah.
I just don't. I'm not that into those characters. So this will be my final issue of Fearless Defenders. Maybe it's a book for you because maybe you like these characters. but they're just not for me.
I think it's kind of weird that there wasn't any Asgardians there at Asgard.
There were Asgardians there, but just not the ones you mentioned. The Rocketeer Hollywood Horror issue 2.
Me and Kieran just watched that.
Yeah, you watched Rocketeer last night. This one's really good. I'm enjoying this series. I like the art by J-Bone. It's a very, like I said, Darwin Cook, Bruce Timmey type feel to it. In this issue, the girl has escaped from Otto Rune, who's this like cultist like leader guy, I guess, who's talking about the future, and he's trying to convince people to pay him money to see the visions for them or whatever. Meanwhile, the two guys that have been chasing Rocketeer for a long time to get the rocket back from its creator, are going after Cliff and trying to get the rocket back. Betty gets involved with the whole storyline because she's going to find her friend, so she becomes sort of the assistant for Otto Rune, and they have this whole scene where he meets all this giant group, and there's going to be lightning that's going to strike, but it's a bomb he's planted. And so Rocketeer has to stop that. So we're just, the book is evolving, the storyline's evolving. I like the art a lot. It's good. It's good, fun read. You alright? Clay still has his cough in case you couldn't notice. We're trying to get to if you need to stop, you can stop whenever you need to, and I'll finish off if you can't do it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Secret Avengers issue 2. This is the book where Nick Fury, the basically Sam Jackson Nick Fury, the son of the original Nick Fury, has this sort of covert team with Coulson and Hawkeye and Black Widow, and Hawkeye and Black Widow don't remember the missions they go on because there's some kind of secret implant in their brains.
I still kind of want to pick up that.
It's pretty good. In this issue, he has to go get Taskmaster out of this island of supervillains, who they imprisoned him there, and so they get him, and all the other supervillains are trying to get him, which I thought was kind of weird, because if the supervillains imprisoned him there, why couldn't they just get him before they imprisoned him? If they hate him that much, why did they put him in the prison? Why didn't they just kill him in the first place? I don't know. It was just kind of weird. So Coulson and Hawkeye and Mockingbird and Black Widow try and get him out of there. Mockingbird is involved, so she's in this issue. And last time I remember Mockingbird was dead, but I guess she came back at some point. I don't know. But she's back now, and I guess she's part of the Secret Avengers team. Meanwhile, this AIM scientist has basically seen how the world ends, and he's got this kind of like council, like with all these villains are like the Secretary of Commerce or Health or whatever, and they're all super villains, and they're talking about what they're going to do now with this information, and then that's where you find out what Taskmaster's involvement's going to be, and what they needed him for in the first place. I loved the interaction between Taskmaster and Nick Fury. I'm still kind of head-scratching about how Hawkeye and Black Widow are willing to do all this, but it is a good book. It's probably my favorite Avengers-titled book right now. Keith is scraping something across the floor upstairs.
I think it's his mojo. I like that he is wearing the super.
Oh, the super soldier suit. The Shadow issue 10. This is continuing Shadow's adventures in Spain. He was drawn there to meet up with George Orwell, the author, and so he meets up there. This character here, which I believe her name was Black Sparrow, who's a character from Shadow's past. She's working for El Rey, who wants to kind of unite Spain. Under his rule. He's going to be the king, basically. So they get Lamont, and they bring him to the meeting, and it's all these different factions that are leading and stuff, and they're all going to pool together under El Rey or whatever. And so they want Lamont to help fund it, and so, of course, Lamont is not going to do that. He turns into the Shadow, and a great moment happens where everybody's like, the Shadow! And so he's kind of taking out the bad guys, and takes out El Rey, and he's going to find out who El Rey is. I think this is some of the best writing on the Shadow so far for this Dynamite book. I didn't really enjoy the Garth Ennis run, but I'm thoroughly enjoying this run, and as always, the Alex Ross covers are amazing. There are 2 books this week, and actually the next one is an Alex Ross cover. This book is worth buying both for the Alex Ross cover and the interior art and the writing. Whereas this book is only worth buying for the Alex Ross cover.
It's
Star Wars issue 3. This is it. This is the last issue of Star Wars for me. So far, I haven't been impressed with the writing. I don't think he's got the voice of the characters or the actions of the characters right, and that continues with this issue. Luke somehow is rescuing this girl in his X-Wing, and so he rescues her, and they're riding in the X-Wing together. You alright?
More until Thor.
You only have a couple after Thor if you want to make it through. It's up to you.
I'll make it.
Okay. So he puts her in the X-Wing with him, and I'm remembering well, why didn't he take Leia in the X-Wing with him when Leia's X-Wing was broken? Why didn't he do that then?
Yeah.
And so then Leia's all jealous because he's having this sort of interest in her, and then she calls him out, and he's like, oh, well, I'm the best pilot you've got. But yet in the first issue, they said that Wedge was the best pilot they had. And so then meanwhile, Han's off on Coruscant trying to get some supplies for Mon Mothma, and he runs into this guy and immediately knows he's a double-cross and shoots him. And it's like, how did you know that? But they don't explain how he knew that. And it's just a lot more of the whole, these characters aren't really anything like the characters. The only thing that I was happy about with this book was the cover. That's it for me with Star Wars. Maybe it's your cup of tea, but it's not mine. I'm not enjoying it.
Actually, when I saw you get another issue, I was going to ask Dad, can I start picking this up?
It's not very good.
Okay.
I mean, you're welcome to read the first 3, and if you enjoy them, then I'll keep picking it up for you.
Okay.
But I didn't enjoy it. Thor God of Thunder, issue 6. This is one of the other books you read this week. Was this it for you? I guess it was just... Was it 2 books? I think you read 3 books.
There was Age of Ultron, Avengers Assemble, and then Thor.
Oh, that's right. You read Avengers Assemble. I forgot. Thor God of Thunder, issue 6. This is in the midst of the Godkiller storyline, but this is kind of a standalone issue.
I like it.
I loved it.
My pick of the week.
Now, it's different art.
Yes.
It's not Esad Ribic. It's Butch Geist doing this one. And basically, it's just the Gore's origin story, the Godkiller's origin story. It shows him as a young guy, or a young child, and his mom, and how they pray to these gods to help them, and they're in like kind of a barren world, and it's him as an adult with children, and then him past that. And it's just him building up as to like constantly asking his gods for help and them never being there for him until finally something happens and it gives him a power, and that's when he decides to go off and kill these other gods that he hears about.
I like that they finally gave the origin.
I did too. Now we're not going to say what character it is at the end, but a Thor type character is at the end who he's kind of had imprisoned for 500 years. It was really cool seeing him. I thought it was a great sequence between the two of them, their discussion and stuff. It's a great issue if you're enjoying the storyline so far. Don't be disappointed when it's not Esad Ribic art. I think it works in the fact that it's not kind of in the rest of the storyline.
You can skip that issue.
You could skip it if you wanted, but we think you could skip it. But it really was good, and I like Butch Geist's art. It's no Esad Ribic, but I think it works in that it's not as a whole, as a part of the storyline, if that makes any sense. I liked it a lot. I'm glad you liked it a lot, too. You read it before I did, and you were like, Thor's great. This is the first one you've really said that about, too, where you've been really excited, and you're like, Thor's great.
I'm surprised to hear myself say that's my pick of the week.
Yeah, I think mine's Age of Ultron, but Thor was really close. Thunderbolts issue 6, we continue the up and down roller coaster of good issues and bad issues. This one was an okay issue.
Ooh, finally.
Yeah. We get a little bit more on why Thunderbolt Ross is doing this whole thing with the leader, how he's wanting to get this information out of his head, and how Madman, sort of his brother, was trying to get information out of his head. We get more of the drama between Deadpool and Elektra and Punisher, and how Deadpool is kind of interested in Elektra, but now he's mad because she's seeing Punisher or something, which I thought the whole thing was kind of weird. The Mercy character shows up a bit more, who I don't know anything about. I thought the most interesting things in the book were the interactions between Deadpool and Punisher, because I liked the things that Deadpool was saying to him, and the whole Madman storyline about him and his powers and his whole goals with the leader. I really, really want this storyline to end, though. I'm sick of the whole them over there and the Resistance fighters and Madman and all that stuff. I'm just done with that.
How's New Venom doing? Is he any good still?
He was in it, and he wants to help a bunch of kids in that issue, which I thought was kind of cool.
It's like it's starting to break out.
Just on the cover. Uncanny XMen issue 3. This brings Cyclops' team face-to-face with the Avengers. As they're going to help one of their new mutants meet up with their mom and explain what's going on, the Avengers show up. And it's kind of words back and forth. There's a whole lot of Bendis dialogue with some of the lesser characters that nobody would be saying. If you're meeting the Avengers, would you be cutting jokes in the background, kind of going, whoa, I can't believe it, dude, the Avengers. No, you'd just be kind of sitting there going, in your head, like, oh my goodness, that's Captain America.
Is this happening?
Oh my goodness, this is really happening.
Pitch me.
But you wouldn't really be saying all that stuff out loud.
Right.
Yeah, no way would you. You'd be almost like starstruck being there with Captain America and those guys.
If I saw Cap.
It all starts with the girl giving a report on how much she loved Captain America. And it's just kind of, I really don't enjoy Bendis dialogue, and he seemed like he moved away from it, and now it's coming back, it feels like. Back to the Bendis kind of cheesy, corny, characters saying things in inappropriate situations kind of dialogue. We get the confrontation with Magneto over him kind of double-crossing the team, and how he kind of weasels his way out of it. The Avengers get taken out way too easily in this book, like insanely easily. I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to enjoy this book. I like the whole storyline of Cyclops and kind of having to have a renegade team. I like the whole drama of him trying to convince the world that, you know, mutants have it hard. It's kind of cool because you almost feel like he's in the right. at some points, but you have to think of him almost as a villain character, too. At the end of the book, they realize the Avengers are still kind of preoccupied, and so they're going to go do something while the Avengers are preoccupied. I'm going to keep giving it a shot because I'm interested in the Cyclops storyline. The art, who knows? 2 to go. Can you make it?
Uh-huh. I'm going to make it for the other videos that we have today, too.
Okay, if you need a drink before we go on the next one, you can. The Wolverine issue 1, the new Marvel Now book that's not Savage Wolverine. Wolverine, the regular book, by Cornell, with art by Alan Davis and Mark Farmer. I believe it's Mark Farmer. The best thing about this book was the art. I like Alan Davis' art a lot. The whole storyline was kind of strange. Like, Wolverine's kind of in, like, I guess, a mall or something, and this guy, who's a dad, has this weird alien gun, and he's just kind of killing people, and his son's just kind of watching the whole thing. Wolverine has to take him out, and then the cops show up, and then the son kind of goes crazy, and Wolverine has to go after him, and that's about it. It's not really a compelling first issue where you feel like, I've got to finish this storyline.
Wait,
other than the art.
Ended already?
No, that's still going. It's 2 books. It was just kind of like, oh, okay. The Alan Davis art, while I love Alan Davis art, wasn't as good as it usually is, it seems like. I don't know. This one's disappointing. I wish it was better.
Sad.
And the last book of the week is X-Men Legacy issue 7. Now we begin, now that he's finished off the storyline basically with those twins and running around, and he's kind of getting control of himself. This, I guess, is going to begin his proactive storyline of kind of, you know, I'm not going to wait and react like the X-Men do. I'm going to go out and hunt down the threats to mutants before they even become threats or something like that. So he's going after this kind of cultist group that Luca, who was Blindfold's brother, who went nuts and was those 2 eyeballs that made him go crazy or whatever, he goes and hunts them down. And there's some funny dialogue because Blindfold's there as kind of an apparition the entire time, and he's kind of trying to impress her, and he's kind of treating it almost like a date, which I thought that was pretty funny. And that goes on, and he's kind of recovering from what happened in the last issue inside his mind, where he saw a vision of his father telling him he was basically a disappointment. So he isn't as confident as he is inside of his head as he was before. There's some really funny dialogue between him and the cultist guys, and what happens to the cultist guys at the end I thought was amusing. Not my favorite issue of this book so far, but it's still one of my sleeper hits of Marvel Now. I do enjoy this book on a monthly basis, or guess whatever basis it's coming out. And I look forward to each issue, so I'm going to keep looking forward to each issue.
I have one thing to say about Thor.
Yeah.
I'd love them to make a God Killer toy
that would be
Marvel
cool.
Universe.
That would be cool. If it came to it, I would get a Gore as well. Alright, so your pick of the week, obviously, like you said, was Thor.
Yes.
Mine came down between, like I said, Age of Ultron and Thor, but I'm going to give it to Age of Ultron so far because I'm enjoying that just as a miniseries. I'm not sure how much I'm going to enjoy it after the crossover starts, but as a miniseries, I'm really enjoying it.
Is that next time?
I don't know. I think the issues might start next week. The crossovers. I don't know. We'll see Wednesday. I guess that's it. So we'll see you guys next time, and keep reading them comics. Blaze's going to get a drink, and we're going to do a Nick Fury review.
What about,
Oh, we're going to do Batman, too.
Okay.
Alright, see you guys.